He was a special kind of chef. In her eyes, customers were never gods. Because a customer complained the steak was overcooked, she immediately grabbed a piece of raw beef. Angrily, she walked over.
Murder for you?
You out of your mind?
Yeah, that's why.
The boss saw this and hurriedly apologized. He also asked her to replace the tablecloth for the customer. This only fueled the woman's anger even more.
Not bad.
That felt so good.
Mary was a top chef earning millions annually. Her status in the restaurant was well known. Even the boss had to follow her lead. Although she had a bad temper, it did not lessen customers' love for her. This was because her cooking skills were excellent. She strived for perfection in everything. Her eyes could not tolerate even a speck of dust. Without her, the restaurant could not function properly, but no one knew her position would soon be replaced. That day, Mary was busy in the kitchen as usual. Suddenly, she received news that her sister had an accident. Mary rushed to the hospital. She found that her sister had already passed away. Only her niece was left lying alone in the hospital bed. When the niece woke up and learned her mother had died, she was deeply sad. Tears kept streaming down, and Mary, who was always serious, could not help but shed tears at this moment. Facing this sudden tragedy, Mary decided to stay at the hospital. But the restaurant, having lost the chef, fell into chaos. The staff whispered among themselves, debating who could take Mary's place. Just when no one knew what to do, Mary returned with exhaustion and grief, back to the kitchen she knew so well. She quietly put on her uniform and began working. But the noise and turmoil in the kitchen lingered in her mind. The cooking she once loved seemed to have lost its former feeling. When Mary finally had time to calm down and read the last words her sister left behind, tears flowed uncontrollably again. The boss looked through the window and saw Ella looking heartbroken. She quickly walked into the room and tightly held Ella's hand. She urged Ella to take a break from work and rest for a full week. She needed to reset her emotional state. Ella took her boss's advice to heart. During her time off, Ella brought Lisa to stay at her home. She did everything she could to care for her attentively, but Lisa was like a wounded bird, having lost all her former energy. She was lethargic all day long and emotionally withdrawn. Even Ella's carefully prepared fish dishes couldn't spark her appetite. Lisa only glanced at the food briefly and silently turned back to her room. This made Ella start to worry whether she was truly capable of taking care of this little girl. The therapist offered a suggestion. Perhaps Ella could prepare for Lisa some tasty but simple bento boxes, such as fried frozen meals. But Ella immediately rejected the idea. She and her sister had grown up in hardship, and frozen meals were what they had eaten just to survive. She would never allow Lisa's childhood to resemble theirs. Soon, Ella's week-long break came to an end. She returned to work at the restaurant as usual, but as soon as she stepped inside, she noticed something unusual. The restaurant was unusually bustling and lively. When she walked into the kitchen, she discovered that a new head chef had arrived. This chef was nothing like Ella's reserved personality. He was funny and charming, easygoing and approachable. He played cheerful music while working, and under his leadership, the staff sang joyfully while working with enthusiasm. Ella looked at the new chef with confusion and uncertainty in her eyes. For the first time in her life, she felt her place was being threatened, but Ella could never have imagined that this man would completely change her life. Mary immediately went to see the boss. She firmly expressed her stance. Her kitchen did not need such a lunatic. However, the boss had a different opinion. He believed the kitchen shouldn't always be lifeless and dull. Instead, it needed a spark like this to ignite the passion in the staff's hearts, bringing energy and vitality to the whole kitchen. The boss also specially told Mary that Jack was a rising star in New York's chef scene.
Why did he take it?
Because he said he wanted to work with you.
But even so, Mary still had no good impression of Jack. Jack naturally noticed this. To improve their relationship, Jack prepared for Mary his signature pasta dish. Mary responded coldly, saying she never ate lunch. Rejected, Jack felt a bit embarrassed, but he still walked over and said to Mary,
My grandmother whispered this recipe into my ear on her deathbed. She brought it over from